Roots run deep, petals flow, fair and florist part. Hear the stories as they grow. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to Fair and Florist Pod, the podcast where the flowers are fresh, the stories are occasionally wilted, and this florist has absolutely no dignity left whatsoever. I'm Sarah, your host for the day. I'm a heat hater, a former bucket enthusiast, and today I'm sharing what is, without question, my least dignified moment as a florist. Now, let me be clear about this. Only as a florist. In my personal life, there's been far worse. This was public, though. This involved gravity. This involved builders. So settle in, grab a cuppa, or something even stronger. If you're listening in the summer, enjoy this heat. Hopefully we've got some when you're listening. Let me take you back to the day that a bucket, yes, a round, black, solid plastic bucket, betrayed me. Let me set the scene for you. It was one of those really blistering, oppressive, why do I live in this country if it's going to be like Spain kind of days. Now, anyone who knows me or has spoken to me on a hot day will know I do not thrive in the heat. I do not glow. I do not shimmer. I certainly do not radiate, although my cheeks will glow like some kind of Planitia beacon. I melt. I wilt. I become verbally aggressive towards the sun. There is something deeply unfair about being a florist, surrounded by living things that love sunshine, when you yourself would quite happily photosynthesize under a grey cloud forever. Although that's a lie. I love to see the sunshine. I love a blue sky and a clear night. But I like it only when there's a nice hard frost on the ground. This particular day, the sun was positioned directly above the forecourt outside the front of our shop, as if it held a personal vendetta towards me. Hello, lovely listeners. I'm briefly going to interrupt this episode. Forgive me, but I wish to speak to you directly. Producing this podcast takes time, energy, caffeine, and no small amount of courage. I create every episode independently, without a production team or external support. And whilst I am loving doing it, there are real costs involved in keeping it going. From hosting platforms and equipment, to editing software and script writing time, it's all adding up, far more than I initially anticipated. I completely understand that times are challenging for so many people right now, and support is never expected. However, if you are enjoying the show and would like to help me continue growing this little dream, you can do so by buying me a virtual coffee. If you would like to make a contribution, please visit www.buymeacoffee.com/fairandfloristpod. Every single contribution, no matter how small, will genuinely make a difference. I'm incredibly grateful for your support already as it is, whether that's through listening, sharing the pod, or helping me financially. Thank you for being here. Okay, back to the show. Now, my boss, in her infinite wisdom this day, had sent the trainees home. This meant the glamorous job of watering the many, many, many trays of plants we had displayed out the front was now mine. Let me tell you something about trays of plants outside a florist shop. They do not politely stay where you put them. Every morning, out they went. Every evening, back they came. It's like some kind of plant CrossFit. I have always believed, and still do though, that no matter how high up the ladder you climb in a job, you all still do your fair share of the rubbish ones. Just because you've been there longer doesn't mean you get to float around looking important while someone else is carrying the watering can. That's not how I operate. Did I believe that? Yes. Was I thrilled about it that day? Absolutely not. Now, There were 80 steps. Yes, I counted them. Between the forecourt and the water butt. 80. These days, I'd gladly walk them. I like to get my steps in. Back then, though, it wasn't what I deemed a necessity. I then thought to myself, using my single brain cell in an intelligent way for a change, why am I trudging back and forth with a watering can like some kind of Victorian orphan? Why don't I fill a bucket? Dunk the plant pots into it. Make sure their roots are getting a proper drink. Save myself some legwork. Efficient, botanically sound, lazy, absolutely, but in a clever way. Then, because I am nothing if not committed to comfort, I thought, I know, grab another bucket to sit on. Look at me, thinking ahead, innovating florist optimising workflow. What I did not foresee was destiny, just waiting for me. So there I am. I'm dunking pots. I'm topping up the water every now and again when I needed to, having a little sit down. I even, and I say this with the disclaimer that I do not smoke now and I absolutely do not encourage it, had a couple of cigarettes while I was working. It almost felt pleasant. Yes, the sun was offensive, but I was somehow coping. I got myself into a rhythm. Bucket, dunk, swirl, done. Bucket, dunk, swirl, done. I thought to myself, wow, this isn't so bad. Look at me turning adversity into efficiency. That though was my mistake. You know how the universe hates it when you get smug. I reached the last tray, the very last one. Victory was within touching distance. I was grateful of that too, because my skin was starting to burn a little. Then, without any kind of warning, the bucket I was sitting on simply said, no. It didn't creak. It didn't wobble. It didn't even give me so much as a courtesy crack. It buckled. Instantly. As though it had been waiting for its moment. 1 second I was upright and smug. The next, flat on my back, legs in the air, skirt up over my head, underwear flapping in the breeze like celebratory bunting. I certainly lost all sense of smugness. Time does something very strange in moments like that, though. It seems to slow down. I became acutely aware of everything. The temperature of the pavement, the sound of a pot tipping, the fact that my dignity had left my body. I gathered myself, slightly dazed, very confused, checking for broken bones, just to be on the safe side, and because sometimes I can be a little dramatic. And I thought, please let no one have seen that. I sat up. Directly in front of me is a white van. There are 3 builders sitting in this white van, staring at me, absolutely howling with laughter. Tears are streaming down all of their faces. One of them had the audacity to applaud me. Yes, he actually clapped his hands as if I'd just put on a show for them. Now I was left with 2 options. Actually, I was left with a few more than 2. I could have scrambled inside. I could have cried. I could have pretended I meant to do it. Instead, I did what most people would have expected of me. I took a bow. Full on, theatrical. Then I gave them a regal wave. Because if I'm going down performing. There was a solid 2 seconds, a whole 2 seconds, where I genuinely thought, did I just die? Because when you fall backwards unexpectedly, your brain doesn't go, oh dear. It goes, this is how it ends. Hot, sweaty, with my underwear on show. And here's the thing. In that moment, I had choices. Humiliation or humour. I've learned, through working in retail, and especially in floristry, you cannot control what happens to you. You can only control how you respond. If 3 grown men are crying with laughter because I just flashed half of myself from a plant display in front of them, well, I may as well give them a show. After bowing, I headed back into the shop, tried to act normal. My hair, was more feral than normal. My skirt, still skew-whiffed and looking extremely suspicious. My ego, I thought had detached from my body a long time ago. My boss looked at me and asked, "You all right?" I replied, "Yeah, I just thought I'd test out gravity." To this day, I cannot see a white builder's van without wondering, is it one of them? Do they tell that story? Remember the florist who launched herself backwards like a startled deer? Because I remember. My back remembers. My pride remembers. But it really does still make me laugh. And I think that's the beauty of this job. Among the weddings and the funerals, the beautiful bouquets, the chaos and the compost, you collect these moments. The undignified ones, the ridiculous ones, the ones which prove you're human. So if you're having a day when something goes wrong, if your metaphorical bucket collapses, or even a real one, take a bow, wave regally, and carry on watering the plants. Also though, never sit on a bucket. They're not chairs. They are lies with and without handles. I did actually crush one of the plants, a small geranium. It was never going to survive once I'd landed on it. I apologised to it, which in hindsight probably made the builders laugh harder. Imagine watching a woman in her mid-30s, I was at the time, what do I mean? I still am, flash you unintentionally, then hold a plant whispering, "I'm so sorry." Iconic behaviour. It wasn't about buckets though. It wasn't about heat. It wasn't even about dignity. It was about my underwear choice. Always assume gravity is watching. And as my old nan used to say, make sure your underwear is clean and free of holes. Thank you for listening to Fair and Florist Pod. I'll be back next time with more flowery stories, retail confessions, and possibly slightly more dignity. No promises though. Until then, stay hydrated and keep away from the buckets. If you have enjoyed this episode, and I really do hope that you have, please feel free to share, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. This can make a really huge difference and helps others to find us. I appreciate all feedback, good and bad, but if you are going to leave negative feedback, please keep it constructive and be kind. I'm a florist after all.
Wait, there's more. Ba-da-da-da-da-dum. Ba-dum. Ba-da-da-da-da-dum.
You can also find us and share with everyone on the usual social media sites: Facebook, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, Tumblr, Twitter, and any others which may pop up in between. Just look for Fair and Florist Pod. Please feel free to contact me with any questions you may have regarding any of the tales or experiences that I've shared, or just to do with being a general working florist. You can reach me via email. The address is fairandfloristpod@duck.com. That's DUCK for the duck. Are you a florist with your own stories, your own experiences, that you would like me to share for you? If you are, I would love to hear from you. Again, you can reach me via the email address fairandfloristpod@duck.com, or you can drop me a WhatsApp on 073 671 87685. More than happy to keep you anonymous if you would like me to. If you would like me to give your business a mention, whether you run a florist, butcher, baker, or even a candlestick maker, I am more than happy to do so, providing your business is registered and trading legally. As a thank you though for my putting your details out there, and hopefully generating some new business for you, it would be really appreciated if you would be kind enough to make a donation to one of our nominated charities. These can be found on the webpage www.fairandfloristpod.co.uk. We live, sadly, in a world where bullies and trolls can intrude far too easily into our daily lives. What was once confined to the classroom or the workplace can now reach much further, stretching its evil tentacles into our homes and personal spaces through screens and devices. I have personally experienced bullying in one form or another throughout the whole of my life, so I understand how deeply it can affect someone. I also realised when I decided to create this podcast, I was inevitably opening myself up to the trolls and the bullies as well. Thankfully, I am now in a place where their words and actions no longer have any power over me. They roll off like raindrops from relief. In many ways, my resilience has been essential, because putting myself out there has brought more than a few people crawling out from the shadows and from underneath their bridges. Some bullies appear in our lives disguised as friends. They can strike you at any point, and they will affect both adults and children alike. They, the bullies, are often extremely weak individuals craving attention. If anything, really, we should pity them. Imagine how empty their life has got to be for them to get their entertainment by abusing someone. Reaching this point in my life did not happen overnight. It has taken time, support, and a great deal of therapy. Bullying affected my physical health, but my mental health even more, in so many ways. It is important I say this clearly. Not all bullying is physical. In fact, a lot of it is psychological, and the impact from that can be profound. Mental health is something that affects every single one of us. At different points in our lives, we may struggle with anxiety, depression, trauma, or simply the weight of everything life throws at us. There is still far too much silence and stigma around mental health, but speaking about it openly can make a real difference. Your mental health can be affected by so many different things, bullying included. Looking after your mental health is just as important as looking after your physical health, and asking for help is not weakness, it is strength. I have struggled with my mental health because of the bullying I was subjected to. I am incredibly grateful that I reached out for help when I did, because honestly, I don't know if I would even be here right now had I not. It is also important to recognise that harm does not only come in the form of bullying. Some people listening right now may be experiencing domestic abuse, whether that is physical, emotional, psychological, financial, or through controlling behaviour. Abuse in the home can be incredibly isolating and frightening. It often happens behind closed doors where others cannot see it. If this is something you are going through, please know that none of it is your fault, and you deserve to be safe, respected, and supported. Knowing that you are worthy, that you are important, and that you are loved is vitally important. Anybody who makes you feel as though you are not is not a person who deserves space or time in your life. If you are struggling, please know that you are not alone, and that there is support available to you. There are people who will listen without judgment, people who can help you find your way forward. Even on the darkest of days, light may still be found. If you need support, please reach out. You can call the Samaritans on 116 123. The call will be free, confidential, and someone is available 24/7. If you are experiencing bullying, there is the National Bullying Helpline. This call again is free. You can reach them on 0300 323 0169. If you are experiencing domestic abuse, you can contact the National Domestic Abuse Helpline on 0808 2000 247. This service is also free, confidential, and available 24/7. If talking is uncomfortable for you, then you can text SHOUT, that's SHOUT, to 85258. Again, this will cost you nothing, and they have a 24/7 support line. I know that reaching out can feel hard, terrifying, and pointless. I understand that feeling. I felt that way too. But I promise you, help really is there, and I am proof that it can make the biggest difference. Don't be alone. Reach out. Take care of yourself and stay safe.
That's it for today, where the petals gently sway. Thanks for sharing in the story and for your time with me today. Until next time when our paths will cross again.